Today we've got Buffalo Trace, Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. So this is difficult for some people to find. Other people have no problems with it whatsoever. Where I live, it is only available once or twice per year, and it is in the store for 15 seconds until it's all sold. I see this anywhere from 25, 26 bucks, in liquor stores, other places, obviously not in Pennsylvania. But I paid 40 for this bottle because I had somebody pick this up for me. I believe it was Maryland, and it was not MSRP. There was a markup on this bottle. I think it was about a $10 markup. So typically this bottle would be between 25 and 35. Some people really like this stuff. I had it before. I think it's fine. I don't think it's below average. I think it was a $40 bottle. We're going to find out here. Let's do a cork pull. Not too bad. Love that sound. All right. Cork back in there. Cork has Buffalo Trace written on it. Buffalo Trace Distillery. And don't get me wrong, Buffalo Trace is one of the best distilleries in the world. I mean, you can only make bourbon in America. This isn't technically, oh yes it is, Kentucky Straight Bourbon. I said it earlier, this is bourbon. So you couldn't make this anywhere else anyway, but this is, the stuff that they're putting out of this place is just amazing. Just gonna get a little nose on it till we go back to the cigar. Oh, yeah. It has a distinct smell. I think if you put this and a couple other things in front of me, that weren't from that distillery, I'd be able to tell you that this was at least from the Buffalo Trace Distillery. It just has this little, for lack of a better word, because this isn't really the word I want to use, but it's like a twang. Just has a little bit of an edge on it. It smells like bourbon. All right. I'll forget about the star of the show here. Where do you guys live? Is Buffalo Trace available where you live? I know I watch a couple guys on YouTube. Some of them, there's stacks of it in the liquor stores. They go in, they can't give the stuff away. And then some places, like where I live, you just can't find it. You can't order it. I mean, you can order it from out-of-state liquor places, but then you're paying the premium. Really like MSRP. I'm an MSRP guy. Or below. I don't think not wanting to get ripped off makes you cheap, but leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. Am I being cheap? I'm going to talk about these Perdomos a little bit more today. So I've had almost everything that they offer besides the 30th. This opinion may change, but the 10th anniversaries are my favorite. And then the 20th anniversaries come in second place. These Habanos are third. And then the lot 23s are fourth. And it goes in price just coincidentally. The 10th and 20th are about 13 bucks, 12, 13 bucks. These, 11, 12, and then the lot 23s are, 9 or 10. So it goes in order of pricing, but that's not why I picked them like that. I just giving you my honest opinion of which ones I think are the best. And the anniversaries, which kind of makes sense, except, this is a big push for the barrel, bourbon barrel aged stuff. Nick Perdomo, the founder, the owner, CEO of Perdomo Cigars, he loves bourbon and scotch. So I hope one day, if they haven't, they may have done this already, and I'm just new to this whole thing, they come out with a scotch aged cigar, a leaf that they age in a scotch barrel. That would be cool. Just something different, And as we know, I'm a big fan, so anything they put out, I'll give a try. I'm going to get those 30th soon. And who knows, those 30s could be the best, but That 10th anniversary champagne is one of the best cigars I've ever had in my life. It is a Connecticut wrapper. It is so silky smooth and creamy and nutty. It's making my mouth water. I'm not taking anything away from this Maduro, but whew, wow, that thing was killer. That might be my favorite cigar in the whole Perdomo line. That's tough to pick one, but that one's right up there. This thing is just gorgeous. I love the gauge on this too. I love the 60 gauge. It's ridiculously big, you know. It's an hour plus smoke, even for a fast smoker like me. You know, it's just so pretty. It feels so nice. It's a little textured. It's not silky smooth, but it's still nice. It's a nice flat leaf. The cigar band is gorgeous, obviously. You know, and even the thing you're going to take off before you light it is beautiful. I love the lions on there. Maduro. People ask me too about my cutter. This is a cheap, I think this was $5. It might have been 10. It is a Vertigo brand. It's a double guillotine, but it is what they call a perfecto cutter, because you cannot stick the cigar in too far. That's why when you see me cut a Bellicoso or a Torpedo, I cut it 4, 5, 6 times. I can easily pick up another guillotine. This one works great. I like it. I don't really mind snipping it a couple extra times. It doesn't damage the cigar. That also allows me to sort of go and clip it and look, clip it, look, and make sure it's the shape I want, the gauge for the mouth. These Perdomos, I'm jumping around a little bit, but these Perdomos, the way the cap is on these things is perfect. You can see when you snip it with that Perfecto cutter, you still have, excuse that spit, you still have that edge curling over, which is not necessary, but it's a nice little luxury thing where you're almost guaranteed not to get any tobacco in your mouth ever. Wow, that thing is so good. All right, let's had some time to breathe. Not a lot of time, but a little. Let's check it out. I've drank this neat plenty of times in a bar. This is the first bottle I ever got my hands on. Just happened to have a friend who was in Maryland. I'm 99% sure it was Maryland. It was either Maryland or New York, but I think it was Maryland. And he saw it, didn't even ask me, he just brought it to me. And here's $40, and I was happy. So let's give it a go. So bourbon connoisseurs, people who are much better at tasting, drinking, knowing about bourbon than me, will say to let the first sip coat your palate, and then the second sip is the truly real sip to get the real flavor. I'm not going to tell you what I got on the first one because it's not supposed to count. Let me do a second one, and then I'll let you know. Okay, so the number one thing that I'm getting out of that right away is cherry. And like cherry candy. like a cherry hard candy that you would kind of suck on in your mouth. It doesn't stay. It leaves almost instantly, but it's delightful. And then you're left with that sweet caramel and vanilla and typical bourbon stuff. So it's not overwhelming cherry or anything. I do smell wood too. Definitely wood. Yeah. Yeah, cherry right out the gate there. And then it goes away. So I don't know how you feel about that. I think it's fantastic. I think it's delightful. I purposely was saving this cigar for something that I thought would go great with it. And when I got the Buffalo Trace, I knew right away. Whoa. Got a friend. Hey, who could blame him? Or, you got nice bourbon and a nice cigar here. Who wouldn't want some of that action? Like I said earlier, I had the sun-grown Habano. I definitely like this one more. I definitely lean towards one or the other. I lean towards the Maduros or the Connecticut's. Sun-grown's fine. I got no problem with the sun-grown stuff. If you said you can only smoke 2 out of 3 the rest of your life, I'm throwing the sun-grown right in the trash. And maybe from inexperience, there might be sun-grown cigars that would blow all these cigars away that I have never had. But for me, and then I can't pick between the Connecticut and the Maduro because it just depends on what kind of mood I'm in. Sometimes I'm in the mood for, like today I was in the mood for the Maduro. I couldn't wait to get out here to smoke this thing. And then there's other days where I'm like, Maduro, I really want something a little bit. I don't like to use the term lighter either. I like to use the term creamier because this seems more rich and dark. And the Connecticut's or Champagne and the 10th anniversaries, the way that's described, I love that description of it too. They're more creamy and light. So it just depends on what you're in the mood for, in my opinion, between those two. Draw on this is fantastic. It's drawn perfectly. It's burning almost completely evenly. It's a little uneven. I'm not spinning it as much as I usually do. I'm turn it upside down like this. Typically when you smoke, that bee just will not leave me alone. Typically when you smoke a cigar, the part that's going to burn the quickest is the part that's at the top when you draw it. Especially with a premium, high-quality cigar. That's really what's supposed to happen. So I have this cigar, really a friend. I made a new friend. I might name him. That's how much he likes me. So like this one here, see, this is burning. Get out of here. I'm not allergic. I'm not scared of bees, and it might look like it right now, but I just don't want to get stung, especially on camera. That would be pretty awkward. All right, so I put this part at the bottom, the part that's burning more, and then this part at the top, part that's burning less. Let's see if this holds true at all. Can't really tell. By no means am I complaining about how this thing's burning either. It's literally making my mouth water as I smoke it. It's got a nice tight ash like they always do. Not really a big leave the country guy to go on vacation or anything like that. I would like to get a couple places outside of the U.S. that I haven't been before, and one of them is Nicaragua. I'd love to go tour his facilities down there. I guess I could start with Miami first. Go to his offices and his retail stores. He's in Miami. It's open to the public. You can walk in, buy a stick, take the tour, maybe meet him if he's there. I don't know how that works. You know, these cigar guys, they're not like famous like celebrities and stuff. You know, in the cigar world, he's super famous, Nick Perdomo, but I'm sure he would shake your hand and talk to you for a few minutes if you ran into him. It's spicy too. I don't know if I mentioned that. I don't think I did. It's a little spicy. I'm getting a spice on my tongue, back of my throat when I retro. Not overwhelming though. I mean, he blends these sticks to be not overwhelming. He doesn't want to blow you away. Saw some interviews with him where he talks about that. He's not interested in punching you in the face with one of these Maduros. He wants to make it an enjoyable smoke that you can come back to again and again and not be, intimidated, especially if you're a newer smoker. Another interesting thing I just thought of that he said was when somebody, a friend of his or whatever, wants to get into cigars, he doesn't give them the weakest, cigar, Connecticut, or he doesn't give them one of those to start. He gives them something like this because he says it's better to go into it with some oomph. That way the next stick you smoke, maybe he's not around and you go to a cigar shop and you end up with something like this, it doesn't sort of scare you away. That's an interesting theory because to me, if I would, without him saying that, now he has me thinking, it's good to think. He has me thinking, but without him saying that, I would have never, like if somebody came over here to Cigar Exploration Headquarters and I was going to offer them a stick, I would pull 3 or 4 of my lightest ones out, the ones that I've smoked that I felt were, mild to medium at best. This is a medium to full, easily. I would give somebody as mild of a cigar as I possibly could pull out of one of my jars or one of my things I store them in. I wouldn't give them something like this because I would be afraid they'd light it up, take 2 puffs, and say, here, take this. It's too much for me. I can't smoke it. Maybe when you're a cigar manufacturer, you can afford to give somebody a stick that they might waste. I don't know. And again, not that I can't afford it, it's just that I wouldn't want it to get wasted. I have never wasted a cigar, unless it wouldn't draw. There's been a few cigars I smoked that were on the budget end, less expensive end, that wouldn't draw. So those I didn't smoke. But a little story for you, a little bit of regret on that. So I keep trashing the Trader Jack's, and I'm still not a fan. But I had one Trader Jack's left. Out of 20, there was one. And I literally just had it sitting at my desk, at my work desk. And I just had it sitting there because I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't want to light it up and get disappointed. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to let it sit here. And 2 weeks went by. And so the other night, I think it was actually two nights ago, I was like looking for something to smoke quick. And I thought, I'm just going to take this stick out back and just see. I fired it up. I didn't squeeze it because I was afraid it was going to crack because it was sitting out. It wasn't even in a container. It had no humidification at all. And I lit that stick up and it was stale. It was a little stale. It wasn't unsmokable, but it was a little stale. But it had a draw, a great draw. Had a draw like these do, like a quality stick would. So I'm Still not recommending those, but I think that if you do get your hands on stuff that doesn't draw, let it sit out for a week or two. The worst thing that can happen is you're going to get a slightly stale stick. It didn't burn super fast. It didn't crack and fall apart. Nothing. When I cut it, it didn't crack. The cap didn't crack. It was fine. And I smoked most of it, about 3/4 of it, at least 2/3. But you shouldn't have to do that. I just think that those sticks are way over humidified. They don't want you to end up with a dry cigar, a stale cigar. But if you can't smoke it, then it doesn't matter. So you might as well have it be under humidified and a little dry and stale. At least then you could, I got some enjoyment out of it. Not like this, not even close to this, but I got some enjoyment out of it. All right, let's go back to this allocated in some states bourbon. That's a dumb word too, allocated. Let's just call it hard to find if you live where I live. There's probably somebody watching this going, I got that all day, every day at my liquor store, and I can get it anytime I want. There's probably somebody that drinks it so much or drank it so much they're sick of it. Let me know if I nailed the whole cherry thing, because that's all I'm getting. It's either a cherry sort of cough syrup or a cherry hard candy. It's got this iconic buffalo on the label. The back label gives you a bunch of information. 90 proof. Distilled and aged by Buffalo Trace, who makes Blanton's and Weller's and Pappy Van Winkle and all those crazy sought after brands. Almost, I wanted to say Elmer Fudd. What is it? Elmer T. Lee? Is that what it is? I can't remember now. But yeah, they make lots of stuff. And everything they make is good, in my opinion. Call that phone number. Go on their website. Like I said, plastic, real cork, but, right? Real cork? No, plastic cork. That's kind of disappointing. Synthetic cork, plastic cork. Yeah, a nice little top of the cap there, though. All plastic. I was watching a guy do a review for Weller 12 year, and it had a literal screw top on it. So that doesn't really matter. It just adds a little bit of classiness. It's kind of like the foot band on them. Just adds a little touch of classiness. Doesn't do anything for the product itself.